Kapu.
Just for what days a man and have a kings and queens who visit all the islands and saw everything. How would they feel about the changes of our land? Why could you just imagine if they were around and saw a concrete jungle and highways on sacred ground? How would they feel about the disrespect of ancient lands? Wanna now, tears will come from each other's eyes, and they will stop to realize that's how the people are in great danger now. Whoa, tell me what would they say? How would they feel? Will the smiles be content or the cry for the pains that they have seen? Now cry for our gods, cry for our people, cry for our lands that was taken away. And then yet you find hope in it. Ooh yeah, ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea ibua ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea ibua ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea. I wanna now all of the fighting King Kamehameha done to conquer all the islands, all those condominiums. How would you feel about the changes of our land? Why could you just imagine if he came back and I saw traffic lights and the railroad tracks? How would he feel about the disrespect of ancient lands? Wanna now, tears will come from each other's eyes, and they will stop to realize that's how the people are in great danger now. Whoa, tell me what would they say? How would he feel? Would his smiles be content with a cry for the pain that he has seen? Now cry for our gods, cry for our people, cry for our lands that was taken away. And then yet you find hope in it. Ooh yeah, ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea imua 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 ooh mau, ea ka aina I ka pono ooh mau, ea ka aina I ka pono. The life of the land perpetuates only in righteousness. Only in righteousness. Only in righteousness. Ooh yeah. Ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea imua ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono ea imua ooh mau, keo kaiana, kupono.
Aloha kako. Welcome to Another episode of Darkside of Hawaiian Politics, October 10th, Saturday, 2020. Aloha, kako, hale o ke ave, maui a pi'ilani, moloka'i a hina, hale kakui hewa, and mano kalani po. Kakaiaka ko Hawaii pai aina. Let's go. So today's weather, he'enalu for moko ke ave. Today, Saturday, we got your north high 82, low 79. We got your east highs 84, low 72. We got your south 83, high, low 79. And we got your west topping out 94 high and 86 low. He'enalu out in your north is 1 to 3 occasional. And you got down at your east, your 0 to 1 out at your east facing shores. South tops out 2 to 3 with the highest, and your west matches the same with 2 to 3 out on Moko Ke'ave. And that is your He'enalu and your weather for this week, Darkside of Hawaiian Politics. Now for homework on the Olelo No'eau of the week. Homework, let's go.
Aloha mai kako. Good morning, everybody. Everybody out there in Ko Hawaii Pai Aina and beyond, here in the Kingdom of the Hawaiian Islands and across the whole Nua. Aloha kako. Today again, La 46,650 since the usurpers overthrew our constitutional monarchy back in 1893. So that's 127 years, 8 months, 24 days. Or 1,532 months, 24 days, and really telling 6,665 weeks now of illegal, prolonged, belligerent occupation by the U.S., its military, and of the Hawaiian Islands. So again, La 46,653. Always want to make note of that. Coming off of the Ole moons right now, you know, you might have saw the dragon eye rising at the half moon right there, coming right out of it into the Kaloa moon, the waning into the no moons. At the end of this Ikuwa season, still cool season though.
Still cool season.
So, you know, we still get plenty work for do. Pick your urus, till the fields. Makali'i coming soon. But today's Olelo No'eau of the day. Let's give them something
Olelo
from
No'eau of the day.
Puku'i. Yeah, straight from Puku'i. Number 2267.
2267.
Nana Kamaka. Hana Kalima.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Lima.
Nana Kamaka. Hana Kalima. So look with the eyes, right? Observe with the maka. And hana kalima, work the hands, work with the hands.
Work with the hands.
And, you know, some of the kauna behind this particular Olelo Na'eau, you know, just watching isn't enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content out there right now in the universe, you know, out there in the stream, in the multiverse of the live stream world, right?
Yes.
And so just watching isn't enough. We actually got to pitch in. We got to help out. We got to do the work. We got to get the hands moving. So we just bringing the Olelo No'eau home a little bit, right? Making sure we're not just watching everything go by. We're not watching the shit show of the fake state of Hawaii, or, you know, the bipartisan political theater of the U.S. and Western theaters and Coliseum type frameworks that enrapture us and capture our attention spans and hold it hostage for 127 years, right? So don't just right? Don't just look at that one big eye out there watching everything, right? We got work to do. We got to keep the hands moving. So e hana kalima ke kahi. Yeah, nana kamaka. Hana kalima.
Olelo No'eau, homework, mahalo, leading us down that path before.
A little visual right there.
A little visual. There you go, Kako. You know, it's going to get, you know how it goes when it's time to do the chopping block on the dark side, Kako.
It could be a hard job. You got to turn this hard piece of pohaku into something useful, manageable, and that stands the test of time. Let's see what we got.
Let's go, homework. This week, as the scheme exposes itself, first
What we got? Who's first on the chopping block,
on
Reg?
the chopping block, we got
Hawaii.
the Matson scheme.
The sleigh ride. Okay.
The sleigh ride. So, Kako, if you guys remember Matson, a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has been around for 100 years, right? Give or take. They had the courage to extort our community. When this COVID pandemic took place, you know, we had so many crisis actors to name. And, you know, it started off with the Aina Aloha, when people was asking and saying that we have an economic package stimulus that we want to work. And then everybody had a bright idea of how to do it. Well, this was Matson's way. Matson's way to get this stimulus package moving during this COVID pandemic. They said that they were shortfalling every month, a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You guys know a lot of this situation that has been unfolding, and it seems to be going out of control, as now you see that the profit margins don't lie. It will recover in the third quarter as predicted, from common Kanakas in our community who see these schemes take place. So, homework. This has to be a collusion with a smash, knowing that the tide was going to change, that this multi-billion-dollar corporation would one day say that profits was up in the next year or so. And this is what we're seeing.
Right. So Matson is reporting, what is it? Third quarter profits. It increased, right? Even during the pandemic, which isn't really surprising.
It's not surprising.
Especially when you look at kind of the history here, right? You look back in August, the PUC approves a 46% increase for young brothers and the rest of the old boy gangs. The sleigh ride coming true, right? Bringing all the goodies to the good girls and boys out there. If you're on the good list, if you're on the bad list, you might have to wait in line for a couple hours, a couple weeks, a couple months, maybe waiting on your unemployment check to get some of those rations from these big time players, bringing in the sleigh ride from the North Pole. Anyway. I just wanted to remind our audiences right out there, the 46% increase that was approved by the PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, right? So these guys are working hand in hand with a lot of these big time corporate entities that control Hawaii's economy, commerce, and basically our everyday lives. When you think about it, when you think about how many people go without, when you think about how many Kanaka do not have the rations, the food supplies, and the other, the other things that we need to survive in this world. So, I gotta definitely bring the Kawila out for any of these issues, because this is like bread and butter. This is the fish and koi issues for our Aina and our ports. That's where we get the main clogs in arteries, right? And it's, we keep eating these processed, manufactured foods. What you think gonna happen? So another reminder for us to get back to the Aina, to get back to each other and our communities, to cultivate the foods so that we don't get strung out by some of these crazy, industrial type of moves and maneuvers during the pandemic, right?
Right. So next up on the chopping block, we got yours truly, the Kanashiro face. The Kanashiro face, Kako. So you see this guy right here? This guy right here has been on the front line of many devastation prosecutions throughout the state and in Honolulu. Catherine Kealoha, his lead prosecutor, him being the manager, $1.4 million liability clauses will affect taxpayers in Hawaii. $1.4 million. That's just a rough number of what I believe is going to come down to a larger inflated number. To say 1.4 million to the damages he's done, he's been in office like a dinosaur. He's like a fossil fuel. So you could only imagine how many families and how many cases that he has his fingertips on. And to me, this Kanashiro, his face explains it all. When you see that face, Kako, be very scared, because this guy wants everything you got, and he has a team, and the team is the political state of Hawaii, criminal, crime lord, Ige. And that's why he's on the chopping block today, because the 1.4 million is unacceptable for a public servant to
pay
have.
the tab, baby. You gotta pay the tab too.
Not only pay the tab, Kako, we have to smash and call this out every time we see it. Every time we see it, we have to call it out. Because why? Because this collusion is basically beyond the fathomness of what the common citizen in Hawaii will even comprehend. And that's why we're the ones to expose them. Because there's no other news out there that will not and always give you the best news, regardless if it's corrupt government or if it's neighborhood crisis actors. We have an obligation to cut out the nonsense that has been plaguing our communities.
You know, you couldn't script a better, a botched gambling case, right, is what's costing us $1.4 million in taxpayer monies, basically, right? It's put on the taxpayers of the fake state of Hawaii. For a federal lawsuit now about games, about gambling machines, right? Arcade games, and so this is the kind of fake state shenaniganry that has become all too commonplace here in the fake state of Hawaii. And how do they decide this number, right? How do they decide that this is how much they get to squeeze us for, right? Well, they have a closed door meeting, right? And they have handshake agreements behind these closed door meetings, right? That amount to millions and millions of dollars, right? And is there justice in this situation? Hard to say. Yeah, hard to say. So I'll be following this one as it goes forward. But there's the tab, 1.4 million for this sideshow, right? I hope you guys was enjoying the headlines the last few weeks, because that's about all we can do with it. We still gotta pay for it.
Yes.
So, and a lot of Kanaka out there paid for it with their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so
at the end of the gun, at the end of the baton,
and
right?
it's so
behind
ironic.
the bars.
Yes, it's so ironic. The price that has been paid is so high. But yes, homework. We just smash and pass this knucklehead, right?
Smash this bugger.
So next up, this issue we talked about a while ago, a couple weeks ago or so, and it's basically talking about territorial discrimination. So all the territorial states that took place, Puerto Rico, Guam, Hawaii, so-called, out of all these places, right? The difference is certain of these people that the territories claim don't have the rights of other territorials, or the same rights as American citizens. Yeah, and this is why it applies to us. We were never annexed. There's no treaty, right? There's a bunch of straw mans running around, which we'll get into it later on. It's so ironically how these things just come out timely for these presentations and explosions, because this straw man effect, which everybody has, the birth certificate, right, that everybody feels so passionate about. It's an American bond, right? And this American bond supposedly affords you American benefits, right? Not for certain other territories that claim to be American territories. They say that you're American, just like our cousins out in American Samoa. But we know that they always had a king and a queen to match their stability of their nations. And we see it here in 2020, where the biggest crisis acting finanza is going on with the orange head president, COVID-19 Trump. And we we have people out here wanting to vote. Yeah, wanting to vote. They say vote changes lives. Well, here you have it. The shit show doesn't let you vote. Because if the Samoans had a vote, you think they would have Mr. Andy Schmegelhires running their campaign down there? They would never allow a foreigner to run their campaigns for their health management and for their communities of their ohana. So there we leave case in the territorial fraudulent scheme of the 1900s. And that's a smash. If you're going to say and give privileges to these people, you honor it. You honor these people that you give these citizenships, these allegiance, who serve in your military, who serve in your hospitals. You owe them what you say you do. And that is allow them to vote in the re-elections.
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic, actually.
It has a swing, right?
Because there's commonalities throughout
Yes.
Polynesia, throughout
Right.
other Pacific island nations, and other island nations even, right? Puerto Rico, Guam, and other countries, who have to deal with this sort of like limbo, right?
It's a limbo.
With the federal government and with the chains, the American chains on them, right? It's like, we want you in the chains, but we're gonna keep you guys a little bit loose so you can rub your neck on top of the chain and get on a little bit, rash, small kind. So anyway, it's sort of like forcing you to progress within their system, right? In order to get the rights or the abilities to properly represent yourself or to get allocated funds or whatever it is, right? You're entering another layer of corporate entanglements, basically, the higher you progress within this system. So, and the further we become entrenched within this fraudulent corporate powerhouse, right? So for me, I just want to send some caution across the Pacific, right? It never works out well. Look at Puerto Rico. They're still struggling to get some kind of representation.
From the
right?
last earthquake.
They just want equality amongst their,
Peers.
how they get, amongst the peers, amongst the people who represent them. They want that to have some kind of
And we
effect.
have Samoan family members. Yeah,
Right.
we want them to be honored for the services they contribute.
Definitely.
Yes, and so this is for everybody out there in Kauai Aina and Extension. If you have family members that are being victimized by this territorial discrimination, you're not alone out there.
Right, and I just want to take a moment to also mention what's happening at the UN, right, at this time. So while this is happening, people are trying to figure out, or other countries are trying to figure out whether they can go further and further into the rabbit hole with the US occupiers. We are actually looking to clarify some of the fraudulence that led us to the fake state of Hawaii today. And so a little shout out to Leon Siu and those working at the UN, I believe, is it the General Assembly? They're looking to, I guess, redo Resolution 1469, which was the one that put Hawaii on the, I guess, list of,
Self-governing.
non-self-governing territories, or took us off that list, right, and allowed for the U.S. to scoop us up in that metal net. So, shout out to Leon Siu. We'll be following that case too. Maybe next week we'll have a special on it.
We'll definitely put that on the dark side.
But they'll be taking that issue to the UN and trying to get clarity on the fraudulence of that document. So
There it
that
is.
should be interesting.
Kako, this week was a hell of a week. And we cannot leave no exceptions to nothing that's going to compromise our lahui. And this one is the Kamehameha Boys.
Oh, here we go.
Where's the Kamehameha Boys? Keli'i Akina, right?
Are we doing the blue and white?
Keli'i Akina, right? And Kalani Kala Kea. So these people, they decided to, right? They decided to do a historical disservice, counter-programming, using the wrong identity, Hawaiian Kingdom News, to promote a Hawaii president grassroots American institution president who shares the same value with a lot of, I guess, the Kamehameha boys. And so this 45 minutes, Kako, we've been getting a lot of communications. And here we are to clarify, no, we're not part of the Circus Act. No, we did not acquire. In fact, we denied doing a lot of politics, American politics, and this is the reason why we cannot afford Mauna Kea to have a opponent's voice to act or to try and reflect the Hawaiian Kingdom views. And this, we do not promote Keli'iakina. We do not promote Keli'iakina. We do not promote the desecration of Mauna Kea. And we do not support any Kamehameha School family members of thinking to pimp out Tutu Lady. We will not have it. And that is our obligation, our fulfillment to the law. We are not part of that. We do not promote the destruction of Mauna Kea. And we do not support any American facilitation in our Ohana matters. So therefore, we have to smash on anybody who uses the American institution, grassroots president against our Hawaiian nation.
Oh, the characters. We don't have the data. I don't think we don't have the, we don't have enough gigs to be giving out to all these kind of American performers and characters. So for me, just bust out the kawila, give them a couple conks, ahui ho.
Kako, one more thing before we go. So, I know, don't log in to Darkside of Hawaiian Politics with the flag sticking out in the back. That is a crisis actor page put on by crisis actors out in Hawaiian Kingdom News, American News Now. Look for the Iolani Palace, follow the symbols. We always use visuals. We will never mislead you. It's the Iolani Palace at Facebook, The Darkside of Hawaiian Politics. Go ahead, check out our Instagram, The Darkside of Hawaiian Politics.
You bring up a great point that I just want to touch on, right? The imposters out there. A lot of people creating this proxy representation for
the Lahui,
for Native Hawaiian issues, for Native Hawaiian causes, for Kanaka Maoli issues, for Hawaiian Kingdom issues, right? There's a lot of people who want to create this proxy, create this avatar, create this character, or this personality, or this image. But like we started off the show, right? Nanaka maka, hana lima. We gotta watch, we gotta observe, we gotta see the shiftiness, and we gotta do the work actually to fill in the blanks.
And with that being said, homework, we just keep your eyes up. Nanaka maka, yeah? So now let's get into the COVID freak out.
All right, COVID freak out.
So the COVID freak out. We got two for you this week, right? So our COVID freak out is going with, our first up is
who we got?
The U.S. surgeon. The U.S. surgeon, right, comes to Hawaii and basically gets busted taking pictures. Homework.
Gets busted taking pictures. Well, I don't know. I never see the pictures, but pretty sure not supposed to be down there. Beaches are closed, right? All kinds of restrictions going on. Yet, it's always the same old usual suspects, it seems, who seem to think they have the immunity, the impunity to walk around the streets of Waikiki, whether they're carrying a loaded pistol in the middle of the night and they had drinks, like Mr. Didi, right? Or say just a nice, handsome, dark U.S. Surgeon General,
highest in the country,
with his mistress down at the poolside for a little extended view. I don't know. Maybe they feel the entitlement that comes with that badge and that comes with that sign off, or that comes with that yoke, or whatever it might be, right? That wire, but it looks like we still get to see how it plays out in real time, right? So They got putties by the HPD.
So
Right.
good job, HPD.
Mahalo.
Doesn't matter if they were military or not, because you've seen that paper that was circulating, how they could just come around and they didn't have to quarantine their families, their dog, everybody could just come and party down here. You know, this is, like you said, the mentality. This guy went down to a couple lagoons. He felt himself. He's feeling that badge. He felt the quarantine, and he thought he was essential. But essential is only when you're suited and booted, surgeon. And this guy wasn't suited and booted, obviously. Because if he did, the cops probably leniently would have let this guy slide. But as the COVID shit show continues, we're going to smash on this knucklehead. You know, all these military people having fun out there, you know, come on, malama, stay home. You know, you can go to the beach, but do what you're supposed to do. Go train, go do some push-ups, go do some walks. Don't be arrogant like that. Next up, for the COVID-19 freak out, we got only 2 this week.
All right.
And then the 2 would be
My favorite.
the University of Nations.
Oh, gosh.
So this is an international hub of COVID. So, Moko Keave, you see how Harry Kim allows an international body of students to come over here. We can open up your guys' school and nobody knows because you guys only get a couple hundred people running around in that
All
area.
international.
All international. So you have an international COVID-19
Right.
so Luau, right on Ali'i Drive.
Oh.
Yeah, right? Ali'i Drive right off the front, right? A little bit more down.
Right, the back road.
Right on the back road. And so, Kako, for the COVID-19 freak out, hold Mary Kim. Hold Mary Kim accountable because these guys continue to play with our community at stake. And with that being said, this has to be a collusion because it takes more than 2 birds to tango. And they're doing it internationally with the University of the Nations.
The University of Nations, right? Oh, everybody closed. Schools closed. University, nobody's going to university right now. But somehow the University of Nations, right? Which, you know, maybe we should do an investigative report on that institute. How do those guys operate, get all their funds to do all their... Anyway, let's stay on track. The University of Nations, which has a lot of international participants, if you will, right? From Asia, you know, from China, Japan, Korea, and from all across America. And a lot of them, I think it's a Christian school as well. So there's a Christian theme, the unifying of nations, right, under the cross. Well, you should have went Red Cross right now because opening up a school in the middle of town, right where the hot spots was, you know, wasn't really a good idea. I don't think so in hindsight, right?
And you hit it right on the head. The University of the COVID
So
Nations.
if you're walking through downtown Kona, make sure you get
mask
your tea
on
leaf. Make
and
sure
mask
you get
on.
your tea leaf because you might want to stop by the Ava bar, get some Ava for disinfect. Make sure you pa'a, right?
And that part was brought
And
to
then
you
we
by
hold
Kava.
them.
The Kava Mart. Now we back on track, Ava.
Okay, all
And
right.
so now we keep the Ali'i Drive safe. Make sure you mask up and be careful.
Careful.
As we being honest, be careful. Because it's always about the kauna.
You don't know what kind of, you know, what kind of side deals the state was making while everybody was at home with their hands in a pocket, right? So watch out. You don't know who came.
So off the COVID freak out.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yes,
of that. That's enough.
now we out of that freak out. Now let's get back to the chopping block. First up on the back half
Let's go. Back
is
Hana.
the one and only the Department of Homeless Hawaiians.
Favorite redfish.
The favorite redfish. Let's go.
So,
2020, Kako, 100 years later, they want a survey. Homework, what does your survey say? What does your survey say? You got the first question.
I got the Kohila right here because we're not even.
You got the Kohila.
not
There
even
you go.
filling anything out because
There you go.
Smash.
No. Hey,
Oh,
hey.
fucks.
Your family, our family, the survey says send these guys to jail. The survey says arrest arrest the heads of DHHL, Kenji Price. The survey has been taken.
Get in there.
Get in there. You guys,
You got a
you got
10-year case on that one.
You guys got the permission of the
Oh.
beneficiaries recognized by the Congressional Act of 1920, and we give you the green light to clean the house. Because we, like now, the survey is out. The survey should say an F for how many have you put on? 10,000 in 100 years, give or take. How much is on death row? Over 40,000. How much people died on death row?
Close to 100,000.
Close to 100,000, which I don't even know the number,
don't even
Kenji.
know. They lost
we
it
need
3
to
times.
we need to know the number. All these lands, there's more lands awarded to non-beneficiaries than beneficiaries. There's more non-beneficiaries running homestead association than beneficiaries. You know, there are so many things.
But
that the
tell us how
department-
you feel. But tell
F.
the department how you feel.
We
How do
wanna-
you really feel?
We want to give a soft F out there, you know, with a little kimchi on the side, with a little bean sprouts. Like that's what I want to give Isla and the Department of Homeless Hawaiians. They get a flat rate F.
And we're laughing now, but you know it's
And it's not just you
not
guys.
funny.
It's not just you guys. It's your whole department. Everybody who ever had a hand as a chair or a not a trustee. What
If
would you
you're
call them?
complicit as
A commissioner. You know, all of those people who have ever had a hand in not awarding. You guys only have 10,000 on that 200,000 acre list of beneficiaries.
The status quo.
If that, I don't even believe so. So DHHL, the questionnaire that's going out there, we need you guys to go out there, Kako. We need you guys to submit how many family members you lost. Submit how many times the banks have not honored those loans, discriminated based on your nationality or your belief, right? That's what we got to look at, Kako, in the questionnaire. Please do a detailed outline of a 5-bullet point that shows them what you are going through in 2020, 100 years later from the Federal Congressional Act.
Yeah.
So that is definitely a smash.
Yeah.
And you got any last words for these
It's a
knuckleheads?
waste of money, waste of kala again, right? I mean, the logic is they want to know how to better serve the Hawaiian communities, the beneficiaries, right? But the reality is that they couldn't be further from it with the way that they operate and the status quo of the state of Hawaii and the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, right? It's basically like the side pasture
Yeah.
for the state, right, to go put
Yes.
their old
Non-
peepee, their old token peepees out there, for go graze little while, collect, make sure nothing happens, right? And we cannot tolerate it any longer. So I
Hit 'em
hope all
up.
you guys is smashing them
Hit
on
'em
the
up.
questionnaire if you're participating, because
Hit them up, guys.
we
Hit
can't
them
go
up.
to the meetings.
Yeah, hit them up.
So
This is the only way you can do it.
I guess you
know?
gotta share your feelings again.
Right, Kako. Don't be shy. Bang them. Next up on the chopping block, look at this guy.
Slick Rick.
Look at this guy.
Slick Rick. Hey.
Rick Blangiardi. Rick
Boy.
Blangiardi.
Wow.
So Rick Blangiardi,
Maka.
you guys got to go check out this crisis actor, man. It's called the straw man effect. If you guys don't know what the straw man effect, we just was talking slightly a little bit about it, but Blangiardi has a little twist to it. So we say that the American bond that you have is a straw man, that's all caps, that the U.S. government gives to you to identify you with your numbers of your slave bond. Well, you have Blangiardi here. He takes that concept and he applies it to a financial system. He, as a corporate banker, knew how to leverage properties. But when people, low-income people, maybe mid-range, couldn't get those loans, he would find a secure loan purchaser. We call him the straw man. Straw man goes in, Blardy places his order for a down payment. This straw man, Willie, we're just giving nicknames, Willie. Willie goes back in, and Willie files on behalf of the straw man. And that, to me, shows where Honolulu's headed. You guys got a professional scam artist who already got busted in a bank fraud, right? We told you a little bit about the possibilities or a little bit more in depth of how he has done it. And you guys are blown away. And if you guys are not blown away, then you guys got a lot to learn. Because this guy's going to be your mayor, Honolulu. Yeah? And this guy knows how to take your straw man and he knows how to cash out. So if you don't feel like that is important to you, I suggest you realize where this guy is headed. As a corporate banker like Caldwell, they understand this philosophy. Yeah? Maka'ala, be on the lookout for these crooks. Because Blangiardi is crazy.
He's coming to a mayor's office near you.
He's coming to a mayor's office near you.
Well, one of these characters is gonna be sitting in that office. So you know how much more mana you want to give to these mana suckers is basically what it comes down to. Be very careful of people who work the media, who've been in charge of media for decades, right?
And banks.
Oh, definitely the money scheme too. But right now in this day and age, everything's online.
Media.
Everything is live stream. The people who know how to work media, who've worked media for a long time, who've controlled narratives for a long time, okay? Be very careful about them getting more power in this system.
And that is such a right word what you're talking about, because it leads us to the next wabanga.
Yeah.
And you know what is the next wabanga?
What do we get? I get some lemons over here. I like me cracked seed. What we
The
get?
next banga.
Naleo.
Naleo.
Yeah.
So, Kako, this
Another
right
media,
here,
right into
this
the
right
media.
here hits us personal, because why? The reason why we separated from Hawaiian Kingdom American News now was because they wanted to fully dive themselves into American politics. Well, we got confronted because of the news that we have pumped out consistently. It doesn't reflect the positive light of Hawaii. And so Naleo was one of the TV's CEO, Stacy, wanted us to stop talking about the dark side and come talk about Hawaiian Kingdom news. And that's where Kalakea wanted to go. I couldn't pull myself to go there, Kako, because I knew things weren't right there. And lo and behold, Homer, less than 2-3 months later, Naleo gets raided. Unbelievable timing, or what you can say, your na'au. Your na'au tells you when to move.
There you go.
Because I didn't see Keli'i Akina coming into the picture, using the phrases Hawaiian Kingdom News Now. I didn't see Na'aleo TV on Hawaiian trying to stop our information production to do another scheme to off-track us.
To get you to be complicit, right?
To get us
collaborate.
complicit. But you know what?
They want you to be one of those
This is the reason why
collaborators.
This
and
is why
colluders.
we took our different path, Kako.
You never take the cheese.
You're never gonna see me
You
doing
never
American
take the cheese,
politics.
guys.
You won't see me doing these things, because we have a value that our kupuna has gave us that we cannot sell, and it's the Oya I'o, and that's for our keikis and for our legacy. American politics, just like Na'aleo, I only got one question. How much celebrities went through that door or got enticed to walk through that door, just like us and many others, with the limelights and the money flashing?
The media,
You got to remember,
camera.
Na'aleo had exclusive rights over all the county commissions meeting, plannings, votings. They had exclusive deals with this government contract. First and only public open television network, supposedly. But yes, Na'aleo, ahuiho, malama pono.
For me, this is a great opportunity to really see if this really shows a clear example of how hard it is to do community-based media.
Hard.
How challenging, how difficult it can be, because here is a community non-profit.
The one and only.
The only one we have on the island, right?
In the state.
Right. Well, I think they have different chapters, right, under
But
different
they
names
are, right?
on other islands, right?
Right.
Akaku and etc. But But for us on Hawaii Island, right, this is like the community news station, right? Supposedly, right? Little did we know there's all kinds of other connections, there's all kinds of corrupt little deals. I guess we'll find out, right? But, you know, here we have Blangiardi, right, the head of
Media.
for how long? Hawaii News Now and all these other morning news programs and stuff, right? But it's the community. It's the community media hubs that are getting hit by the FBI.
Right.
That's kind of strange to me. So, Kenji, maybe you guys want to check out some of the other newsrooms too.
Read the articles in other stations. You guys got to check out the other articles because this is more time than ever, Kako. When
I wonder what Mileko would have to say, right?
What you guys are experiencing right now, this is so important. Why the media, people do their own media at home. Kemoku Kapu,
right.
All those families out in Mano Kalani Po. It's so important that you guys be the program director of the news because we rely on your sources to be able to fulfill the major issues that don't get the attention. And that's why it's so important that you be the narrator, you be the program director, and you guys bring the news. As we try to bring you the best, you guys see that the counter productions are really a real issue. Matching it up with the same time at us, taking the same identity with our names, Oha trying to overlap on the Saturdays. So you guys make the news move. You guys make the news move, and that's why we have to continue to report and be vigilant.
And why we gotta pay attention and follow our na'au always. Right?
You guys are the leo.
Somebody comes all slick.
Never mind na leo.
They got plenty money. They got some pieces of the pie for you to try, right? Follow your na'au.
Ko Hawaii pai aina leo. Yeah, it's everybody's leo, not just the na leo non-profit. It's not just na leo non-profit.
Kako'o non-profit.
Yes.
All stars on the mauna.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We need to be the leo.
Let's have integrity.
We need to be the leo
when we're participating and contributing and constructing the narrative. If we cannot have integrity, if we cannot recognize the power building that happens within the media, and recognize who's getting empowered and who is actually getting played, then we have to start taking care of business, calling them out, blowing the whistle, kanikapu, clean the house.
So next up, we're almost on our way out.
Yep.
The last but not least, I know we kind of late on this one, but we never late. And the one thing that we needed to get with was the DLNR sighting down in Kalalau about a week and a half ago with our cousin Kaimi and the rest of the hana in Mano Kalani Po. So Kalalau has been a hotbed of international hippies and whatnot you have. And they've been going down to our sacred valleys and basically living there. If you check out Boer's page, cousin Boer, they said that they found chemicals look like lab down there. And right after, as they said that it looks like an ice lab, they get cited almost simultaneously. As they post out the memo, they were going to go down there and hana, make nice. They post it as real news reporters and cleanups do, what they find, where they find it, and if people know these people who have done it. Well, this case, they found a lab with chemicals, give or take, right? They report it. Next time they do a cleanup to make sure everything is clean, no chemicals, nobody's coming back to relapse. The DLNR is waiting there with open arms with a book full of citations ready to rock and roll. Kako, that to me is the epitome of discrimination. Instead of reaching out, saying, and giving ways to conduct these cleanups safely in a COVID mannerly way, they went down there with citation books and waited, just like how they waited at Mauna Kea on the side of the access road.
Paid to wait.
It's really heartbreaking, to see families. If you walk down to Kalalau, you would have respect. But obviously these guys get flying in, right? They all float in, right? They all get dropped off, right? So they're not really marching it up and down and carrying these things on their necks and their backs. But mahalo cousin Kaimi, mano kalani po, boa, all the ohanas out there that go down there, time and time, effortlessly, doing your guys' job. Mahalo, and you guys are the reason why we continue to show this message of the DLNR harassing and discriminating our native Hawaiian national, and our Hawaiian national citizens, and our Hawaiian Kingdom heirs.
Yep. Mahalo nui to all of you folks out there doing the work, putting in the hana, right? Not just batting those makas, but actually going out there and putting your okole on the line, you know, documenting what's happening, being proactive about the negligence of the fake state and all of its alphabet soup, exploiters and collaborators, enforcers of this whole extortion game that they put upon us.
Communication can be made. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys may have been in contact. Why the necessary digit citation if there was a communication? Malama aina shouldn't be a crime, Homer.
No, malama aina, like the Supreme Court said in Pohaku law, right? Like the DLNR has an obligation to malama aina. So if the Kanakas is actually fulfilling your obligation, doing your hana, then you should just nanaka maka and not try to pass out citations and criminalize the job getting done. That's how backwards this state is. So mahalo again to the boys. I don't want to waste too much time with the putty stick on those clowns that we already know.
We giving a solution and a pass.
A big pass and a big solution.
Mano kalani po.
And we sending the kahia to all the communities out there to get involved with these Kanaka.
Yes.
To go help them out in the lo'i, out in the country, in the kua'aina, right? There might be a lokoi'a, a fish pond, a lo'i patch, a water a stream that needs to be restored, right? In your moku, in your ahupua'a, or maybe in the one next door. Maybe that sacred one where your kupuna are from. So mahalo again to the Kanaka out there fulfilling their kuleana. Yeah, and awamuing their kuleana during this time.
Yes.
See you guys.
And that's how we line it up for the positive note, right?
Yeah.
We always got to leave this out with a positive note. We cannot just be smashing all these cockroaches and not leaving you with the high note of the Hawaiian Kingdom's heirs doing their jobs and doing the best what they do, you know?
We just smell some good air. Yeah.
And we just smell some good air.
Make sure the air is...
And with that being said, you know, it's always down to a rapid aloha. And the rapid aloha this week, we're going to start off with Kanaka Kava, the Olympics. And where is the extract?
That extract.
So hit this extract when you're down there by the University of Nations. Don't go down that back road. Stay on the Li'i stretch.
Stay on the
and take a right.
Stay on the Alaloha.
Take a right turn right across the volleyball station.
Hey,
you can find the Kanaka Kava there.
Grab a shell.
Grab a shell.
Grab a drip.
Grab a drip.
You know.
And what you got? What you got for the rapid aloha today?
Rapid aloha. Sending my aloha out to everybody out there. Getting ready for maka. Yeah, we're about a month away, so make sure you guys is getting your crops ready, getting your fields ready, getting your communities ready, and you know, for makahiki, not for the fake state elections, right? Not for this American political shenaniganry, but for aligning yourself with our seasons, with our akua, and with the things we need to be doing to malama our aina. Ko Hawaii pai aina.
Oh yes, and you know nothing more, nothing better than bite your eye. If you guys ever get time, like I keep on telling you guys, if you guys get time, because I know it's always sold out. But if you guys have time to check out Cousin, go bite your eye, and make sure you stay close to the couch, because you're not gonna get far. Yeah, you're not gonna get far when you go bite the eye. So next up for the rapid aloha, we got any aloha out there for this week for Olympics? Do we got a time?
Olympics as usual, Sunday at 8. You know, so
Sunday 8 tomorrow. You guys got a your size. Bring it down. Get ready to bang.
You guys want, but main thing, you guys is staying safe in Ko Hawaii Pai Aina in the kingdom, protecting yourself. Malama ko kino, right? Know your laws. Make sure you have your laws on you wherever you travel, right? Because an unlawful conversion has been committed against us, and it's perpetuating continuous constructive fraud. And that's how the state of Hawaii likes to operate. That's how the feds like to operate. That's how all these machinations of colonization and genocide like to put their hands on you. But nana maka, hana lima, ku'e, aloha aina oya i'o.
Aloha aina oya i'o.
Wasa.
Darkside of Hawaiian Politics. We out.
Apply.
Your crowd could not be sold, so let the truth be known.
I'm not gonna come home. Love you guys.
Next week,
Keep banging.
keep banging.
We might have some action if the FBI's in town. We'll see what's up. They might stop by Hilo Lagoon.